and it is being streamed on the America's Pulse Network. Today we are featuring an encore presentation of a previous episode while Alexandra is traveling and attending candidate events. Please click the subscribe button to be notified of upcoming episodes. If you enjoy the show, please share Alexandra Levine live with others. Alexandra looks forward to being back with you live for the next episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine live podcast starts now.
Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of her upcoming episodes. If you like what Alexandra talks about, then please share the Alexandra Levine Live to others. Alexandra also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts now.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with me tonight, Alexandra Levine. We have some major breaking news that came out of the Supreme Court this morning. Let's put up the first clip. So this came from my good friend David Harris Jr. out of Newsmax. Breaking: Republican-appointed Supreme Court Justices John Roberts, who was appointed by President Bush, and Amy Coney Barrett, who was appointed or nominated by President Trump, both ruled against President Trump's birthright citizenship executive order. My question to my audience: what the hell is wrong with these people? I mean, they say, Amy Coney Barrett says she's so conservative, she's adopted so many different kids. I don't get this. I don't get this whatsoever. We know that, Chief Justice Roberts is compromised. What this does, and actually I'm going to pull up something off my phone that my good friend Adam Reuter wrote, and I didn't have enough time to write it out, but he said something very interesting. He said, the airports are the new border. He said, birthright citizenship is not going to be easily solved because a constitutional amendment will need to happen. But if the penalties for overstaying visas and entering the country illegally were harsher, that would help solve the issue. And I completely agree with him 100%. And he talks about the visa overstay reality. The point about the quote, vacation camouflage matches the actual intelligence reports perfectly. He says the Department of Homeland Security and groups like the Center for Migration Studies have documented this pattern for decades. In multiple recent years, people who legally entered the United States through airports on non-immigrant visas, mostly tourist or business visitor visas, and then simply refused to leave, made up anywhere from 40% to over 60% of the newly added undocumented population. They don't trek through a desert. They show up clean-shaven, present a valid passport, hand over their biometric data, state they are visiting Disney World or a family member, and get stamped right into the interior. Once that 6-month window expires, they drop off the grid entirely and melt into the local economy. I mean, this is just insane. And the justices, they wrote 194 pages on the birthright citizenship issue. I can tell you Justice Alito and Justice Clarence Thomas are not happy that Amy Coney Barrett and Chief Justice Roberts voted against this. This is unbelievable, unbelievable. And Adam Reuter said, he says, I hate to say it doesn't surprise me, but it doesn't matter because we've argued the issue so many different ways we've argued the issue, and they all came to the same decision as the Supreme Court, which is ridiculous. Unfortunately, the law needs to change for something to happen. But I mean, this is just, again, asinine to me that they would go against President Trump's executive order, that they would completely, Amy Coney Barrett, who totally surprised us all. Everyone thought she was the most conservative Supreme Court justice, has turned into a liberal. And she keeps going against President Trump every single time. I can tell you Supreme Court justices are compromised. A lot of them do get compromised. I really wholeheartedly feel, in my opinion, that Amy Coney Barrett is compromised. And it's really disgusting to see and to note that these are Supreme Court justices. And it's funny because Congressman Johnny Olszewski of the Baltimore County area, he lives in Miller's Island, but that's not his district. He actually called for term limits for Supreme Court justices, not a term limit for himself, but a term limit for Supreme Court justices. Well, my question to you, Congressman Johnny Olszewski, who's actually Adam Reuter's cousin, is what do you think about this? Are you okay with Amy Coney Barrett's decision? Do you support this? Do you think she needs to be term limited now? She probably voted in your favor. Maybe you've compromised her. Who knows? But we need to get to the bottom of why the Supreme Court is going against the law and going against the will of the people. It's very sad. It's very, very, very sad. Other breaking news that we have also is President Trump said on his Truth Social account that he is doing a midterm convention September 9th through the 10th in Dallas. As you know, I was just in Dallas at CPAC. That was in the middle of March. So a lot of things are happening in Dallas. So I will be there. Hopefully everybody else will be there. This is great, especially for conservatives or people that are in very tough districts. But also, as you know, there is a huge Senate race that's up for grabs. And we hope that Ken Paxton wins that seat. I wholeheartedly believe he will win that seat. He beat out the Rhino, John Cornyn, and now we have a great chance to keep Texas red and to make it even more red. And then other breaking news that we have is another Supreme Court ruling that happened. So I jumped from I was supposed to go Supreme Court to Dallas, but it's okay. So the second thing that Supreme Court did is they ruled against men playing in women's sports. Well, oh my God, glory be hallelujah. We got two genders. We got two genders, everybody, a male and a female. If you are one of those people that was subjugated or subjected to seeing a man in your locker room, or if you know of somebody who had a man in your daughter's locker room, thank you for calling it out or continue to call it out. I can tell you, I'm in the insurance industry. We have trainings. There was a trans person in my bathroom with me. It was a man becoming a woman. And these were not independent stalls. They were independent stalls, but meaning it wasn't like one bathroom per person. I was sharing a bathroom with this trans person. And they had an Adam's apple, and I was like 20 stalls away from that person. Now, I can defend myself. I know self-defense. I know Krav Maga. I've been to the gun range. I know how to defend myself. But a lot of people out there do not. You don't want a man in a girl's bathroom. A lot can happen. So I thank the Supreme Court for ruling against men playing in women's sports. But the fact that they had to do this, the fact that we as Americans had to do this, and this was under Joe Biden, actually it started with Obama and then continued with Biden, is asinine and disgusting to me. And God forbid, you can't say that a trans woman is really a man. No, if you're a trans woman, you're a woman. Again, can a man have a period? Can a man use a tampon? I'd like to know where he would stick that tampon, because the only place he can stick it is up his butt and his nose. So again, the whole thing was ridiculous and asinine to me. Thank God we're done with that crap. Thank God we have two genders. And I hope whatever school your children go to, if you continue to take your children to public school or send your children to public school, that you make sure that they teach your kids that it's he, she, and not they, them, it, non-binary, binary, whatever the crap. And if you don't like what the teachers are teaching, you have the right to pull the children out of the school and homeschool them. But I can tell you, under the Biden era, or the auto pen era, we should say, things were so crazy. But now under President Trump, things are much better. I have full faith in our country, full faith in the future. That's why we have to keep moving on. I always say, trust the man, trust the plan. We have to make America great again and keep America great. Now we go into segment one. So segment one talks about celebrating 250 years of America. I can tell you, I will be celebrating it in DC for 4th of July. And if you can see, I have my 4th of July nails. So I have my American flag. It's right in the middle. I did it on my middle finger on purpose in case anybody messes with me for loving America. But this is the trend, everybody. This is the trend. So I'm so happy to celebrate America. I'm so happy I'll be in DC and in the Maryland area, and I'll be celebrating in all different parts of the country too. And I'm very, very, very happy that America is being celebrated so well by President Trump. So let's put up the first slide at Real Donald Trump. So my man Donald Trump wrote, big win just moments ago at the Supreme Court in the Slaughter case, confirming presidential power in our country to remove executive branch officers and agency appointees or representatives under Article 2. This decision was long sought by United States presidents dating all the way back to the 1930s. It is such an honor to be the sitting president who won this historic and unprecedented ruling, one of the most important ever given with respect to presidential powers. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And this was huge. I remember when he was going through this. Thank God, again, I mean, the Supreme Court, they're an interesting bunch because they know the law, they understand the law, they're supposed to know the rule of law. Sometimes they come through for President Trump, sometimes they act like idiots, like with the birthright citizenship thing. But this was something that President Trump was really looking forward to confirming from the Supreme Court, so I'm glad that he got it through. Let's put up the next slide at Real Donald Trump. Oh, I was like, where is it? So this one's really important. So this also stems on the 250 years. As you know, DC was giving him hell. They weren't going to finish the reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial. I mean, he's been working on this for months. The goal is to have it done by the 4th of July. And I will be there, and many other people will be there as well. So the reflecting pool, which suffered great damage due to the vandals and radical left scum that hate our country, has been for the past 2 days in full operation. It looks beautiful after July 4th. It looks beautiful. After July 4th, we will release the water, fix the damage done to the very expensive waterproof matting with the use of sharp knives and muscle, including the 350-foot gash along its right side, and have it looking as good as it was 2 weeks ago, when it was absolutely perfect. This will all happen very quickly. Security is watching very carefully for the almost 70 other monuments, statues, and fountains that we renovated throughout Washington, D.C. If anyone attacks any of them, they get as much as 10 years in jail. In any event, go check it out. The reflecting pool is magnificent. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I remember under Joe Biden, of course, they removed that executive order right away. And then when Prime Minister Netanyahu came to visit DC, you had crazies that were vandalizing the Liberty Bell, they were vandalizing statues, Confederate figures, and they were also in Union Station, they took down the United States flag and they put the Palestinian flag up there. And as we know, there's no such thing as Palestine. So thank God again that we have President Trump back in office, that he is there to celebrate 250 years of America, and that he has renovated and redone all of these statues. And he puts up the Confederate statues because it is history. We have to know that there was a Confederacy, North and South. You can watch these movies. The problem is that the kids today do not know the history because you have idiots like Joe Biden that tore down the real history of this country. Same thing with Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama made it so that America is weak. And when Biden came in, oh my God, people in Ukraine and Russia, they knew that America was becoming weak. And then Trump comes back in, takes back the power, and now we have power. Now we Americans are thriving again. Now we as Americans, we can say we're an American and wear our American flag with pride. Either on our fingers, on our hearts, on our heads, wherever. I can tell you this is a very special 4th of July for me because my grandfather was a World War II veteran. He served in the United States Air Corps in the Philippines in Manila for 5 years. And actually, he was there in the transition when it went from Air Corps to Air Force. And my grandfather is honored at the World War II Memorial. And my grandfather was a Jewish war veteran. So he's honored by the Jewish war veterans in DC. My grandfather was the commander of the Jewish war veterans at his post in Silver Spring, Maryland. So anything that has to do with veterans, I love. And later on in the program, we're going to have a special guest who will talk a lot about veterans and what he's going to do for the veteran community where he lives. But it's so special, guys. It's so special to celebrate 250 years of America If you are an American and you hate this country, get the hell out. If you're a congresswoman or a congressman or a senator and you put Somalia first, or you put any other country first before America, get the hell out. If you support Gaza, put Gaza first before America, and you're a sitting congresswoman, get the hell out of our country. We don't want you. We want people here that love our country. We want people here that come here legally, go through the process legally, just like it's supposed to be, just like the law of the land, get your citizenship, assimilate to American life, try to learn the language, because a lot of people come here and they don't learn the language. What if we try to go to your country? What if I wanted to become a Hungarian citizen or a French citizen? I would try to learn the language of the country that I'm going to become a citizen of. But no, there's areas here in the Maryland area and in Florida and so forth where they come to this country, and as we know, they come here illegally. They don't assimilate to life, and they're criminals. And they come here with drugs, and they come here with fentanyl, and many other things, and they kill innocent Americans. And that's why it is time that we take back our country. It is time that we Americans unite and fight against illegal immigration, fight against illegal criminal aliens, fight against illegal Syrian and illegal Lebanese or they be imprisoned, or they need to be imprisoned back in their respected countries. People don't understand what the criminals have done to this country, what Obama and Biden have done to this country. I thank God that my good friend, Border Czar Thomas Homan, is on the border doing everything he can to keep the radicals out. I like the fact that we have Mark Mullen as our new DHS secretary. Kristi Noem was okay. I'll be honest, and I've said this on the show, when I think of a DHS secretary, I actually think of a man in that role, not a woman. We've had other women in that role. Kristen Nielsen did a terrible job. Kristi Noem did okay, but she could have done a lot better. We may get a male U.S. Attorney General. In my opinion, when you think of a U.S. Attorney General, I think of a man in that role. It's not because men are better at it. It's just, they're both very intense roles that require you to have a backbone. And we as women, I'm emotional. A lot of women are emotional. In that situation, you can't have emotion. We as women, we can't help it. We go through all the emotions because we have children. We go through perimenopause and menopause, and we have children, and we go through all these ups and downs as women, but men can do it without emotion. And you have to have unemotional people in these positions of power. And President Trump is unemotional too. So is J.D. Vance. That's why it's really great that we have President Trump back in the Oval Office. I can tell I love him more than I did in 2015. And a lot of people, they don't like what he's doing with Iran or whatever, with Israel. Like I said, trust the man, trust the plan. But I can tell you he was just as focused on things that go on in this country than he is overseas. But as a reminder, what happens over there happens here. So he has to take care of the Iran-Israel situation because, as we saw, Biden screwed up Afghanistan. And that's why we had all these illegals coming into our country. Like I said earlier, illegal Syrian, illegal Afghan refugees. So before you start shitting on President Trump for the Iran war, think about why is he trying to keep that area stable? Because it protects us at home. And Netanyahu said, we're just a small country. There's only 7.5 million Jews that live here, 2 million Arab Israelis. It's America they want. He said, they don't really care about us. They care more about America. They want to attack bigger countries with a bigger population of Christians. They really want to attack the Christians. They've been attacking Jews for thousands of years. We're nothing compared to Christians. America's a Christian nation. Why wouldn't they want to attack America and get rid of as many Christians as they want. That's why we as Jews, we want to work with our Christian brothers and sisters. We want to take care of you guys. We want to protect you guys because you guys protect us. That's why we have to stand strong and stay with President Trump. Like I said, trust the man, trust the plan. Let's go to the next slide. So this was very beautiful. So this is actually hanging at the Oval Office. It says a golden gift to the White House for the 250th birthday year. So it's the American bald eagle. And President Trump has actually been in contact with a real American bald eagle. As you know, they are endangered species. There's not a lot of them. I actually encountered a hawk when I was in Ohio, which are also endangered species. So this is so beautiful. Again, for the first time in a long time, we have a president who really loves America, who takes care of Americans, who wants to take care of Americans, who will and always will and does put America first. That's what he ran on. That's what we love about him. And he's honoring America in the most beautiful way. If you guys haven't had a chance, please go to the Great American Fair that's happening in DC. And President Trump wanted to dedicate this whole entire month to celebrating America 250. And why not celebrate at the White House? Why not celebrate it in DC? And let's go to the next slide. Unless that was the last slide. Whoops. I thought I had another slide. But again, what is America about to everybody? What does America mean to you? That's my question to my audience tonight. And what do you want to see President Trump do in the future for America and for Americans? Now, coming up after the break, we have a very special guest. As I said before, we had too many illegal criminals come into this country under Biden. She will tell you about a specific illegal criminal that did something so heinous that it will haunt her for the rest of her life. But she's a strong woman. Her name is Tammy Nobles. She's a brave woman, and she'll be right with us after the break. Now, before we go, we have our sponsor, FoliumPX.com. Toxic heavy metals. This is great before 4th of July. I'm taking it now. I'm detoxing before because, I'm eating kosher hot dogs, which is much saltier than a regular non-kosher hot dog. And I'll be eating sauerkraut and kosher hamburgers with seed oil. I mean, kosher food is so bad for you. But it's bad for you, but it's good for you. But I have to detox fully before I even eat that kosher hot dog or that kosher hamburger. So please, guys, go FoliumPX.com. They have great July 4th specials going on. I love these supplements. These are antioxidants. This will help build your immune system. If you have cancer, this is great. If you have cancer, this is great for prevention of cancer. And again, it is a free radical support if you're trying to get pregnant. These are great supplements to help you get pregnant because it's all detoxing. If you have cysts on your ovaries, ladies, if you have fibrosis or fibroids on your uterus, take these because this will reduce anything and will help you get pregnant. I know I talk to women all the time. It takes so long for them to get pregnant. But if you do these supplements, I'm telling you, it will help. It'll reduce any issues that you have. And it also helps the man's sperm. I heard too. It also helps increase the man's sperm supply. It makes the man more fertile. So it ups his testosterone. So please, guys, go to FoliumPX.com. Click on that QR code. Get the discount. Again, July 4th discounts all over the place. And we'll be right back with Tammy Noble. Stay with us. We are live, and we'll be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Alexandra Levine Live. You are with me, Alexandra Levine, with the America's Pulse Network. I just want to say thank you to everyone who is watching right now. My friend Don Willinger, we have some other people from the state of Florida. Thank you guys for watching. I know I have a lot of friends that watch and they don't comment, but we appreciate your comments. We really do. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Damon Sherrod, someone's asking where's the code, because I think they want to donate. So please, guys, we love it. We appreciate it. We're live on about 15 different channels and connections. So please, guys, thank you for staying with us and sticking with us. So we have two special guests tonight. The first special guest is a woman who everybody knows. Her name is Tammy Nobles. Love Tammy. She's an angel mom. Unfortunately, she lost her beautiful daughter, Kayla, to an MS-13 gang member from El Salvador. He came here illegally, and he did some heinous things to her daughter. So I want to focus, Tammy, whatever you can say about what happened to your daughter and what you want to see going forward now that we're celebrating 250 years of America.
On March, at the end of March, her murderer, Walter Javier Martinez, came across the border as a unaccompanied alien child. They did not do a background check on him. He was flagged as an MS-13 gang member, and they allowed him into this country. All they had to do was make one phone call to El Salvador and to find out he was flagged as a gang member. He also had a criminal record in El Salvador for illicit gang activity in 2020. He ended up living. He ended up staying in the same mobile home as Kayla. What happened was we found out that the rent lady that owned these mobile homes, her and her cousin was here illegally, and they owned these mobile homes, and they were renting out rooms to anybody. They just told Kayla and her boyfriend they were living there with a young family with a young child, and the landlady just told them, "Oh, you're getting a new roommate. Make sure you clean up, or clean up." They did not know their rental rights. They didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to get kicked out. He was only living there for 5 days. July 24th, Kayla just celebrated her 20th birthday. She loved JoJo Siwa, the bows and everything, and she got a JoJo cake, and she went to the pool, had a good day, and little did she know that 3 days later she would be dead on her bedroom floor. He waited till everybody left. He was only living there for 5 days. Kayla and her boyfriend was trying to look for another place to live because they didn't, they knew something was off with him, but they just kind of stayed distant from him, and they were trying to find a place to live, but he was only there for 5 days. He waited till everybody left. He broke into her room in the morning. She ended up calling her boyfriend on voicemail, on the phone, and then it went to voicemail because he wasn't able to answer his phone at work. He went into her rooms. There was a struggle. Everything's caught on voicemail. I have not listened to it. I won't be able to ever probably listen to her last moments. But he took a phone charging cord and wrapped it tightly around her neck and strangled her. And there was a struggle that went on. And then after he killed her, he sexually assaulted her. And he left her on the floor like trash, took $6 from her wallet, and went to lunch with his half brother like nothing happened. So you never think it would happen to you, but hopefully it will never happen. But it has happened many times after Kayla. I've been on this journey to try to share Kayla's story since 2022, trying to prevent this happening to any other family, because it's a nightmare. And these Democrat officials defending these illegal immigrants, Americans should come first. American safety matters. it matters. Our safety should come first, not those that are not here legally. Where were they when Kayla was being murdered? They never said anything. And I am, thankful for hopefully the new people to come into office. I'm thankful that Tim got up there. I'm so thankful for Dan Cox. Hopefully he'll win. It's funny because he was my lawyer. So, and I'm, just hoping that a lot of people will open their eyes and wake up and see what is happening and what Donald Trump is trying to do and what ICE agents are trying to do. They're trying to protect American citizens. They're trying to protect everyone living here so it doesn't happen to your family.
I agree with you 100%. It's so heinous what happened to your daughter, and we will always keep her in our prayers. I want to talk to you about the leadership in your state of Maryland. You have your U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen, who is fighting to bring back this MS-13 gang member, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, to the point where he actually went to El Salvador on your taxpayer dollar to try to bring him back and sat and had margaritas with him. In your perspective, someone who lost their daughter to an MS-13 gang member, what do you think about that?
I am so sick and tired hearing about this Maryland man. Like, I just, wanted to tell, Van Hollen, like, he shouldn't even be in office. How are you allowed to go to another country and pick up this individual that is an MS-13 gang member, is not here illegally? How are you able to do that? Mm-hmm. You need to go over there and live over there and be with them then. If you want to, if you love these people so much, and you go. I was testified in Congress one time, and one of the Republicans asked, if Kamala Harris was right here in front of you, what would you say? And I told them, well, if she loves Walter so much, then she can have him live with her. And they laughed. Like, you should have these people live with you. All these, government officials, your children and relatives are not where Kayla is. You're not in the community. You're in protected, gated community. Your kids go to private schools. Oh, Walter was allowed to go to 2 different Maryland high schools after he murdered Kayla. Human Services put him in school after the Aberdeen Police Department told them that he had to be in a secure location. He was able to go to school with other children. And when I found that out, I was livid. I spoke out about it. They allowed him to go to school after what he did to Kayla.
Yeah, the only reason I laughed is I'm laughing because Kamala Harris, as you know, would never take Walter into her home. That's the irony of the whole thing. And
they laughed too, and I laughed. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't want to make it like I was laughing at you in your situation, but I'm just saying, like, I was laughing in my heart. I'm like, what you said was so true, but God forbid she would take Walter in, or any MS-13 gang member into her home. Oh my God, it would be like a travesty. And there's hypocrites, these people, right? She would never, and they're hypocrites, these people. And the other hypocrite in the state of Maryland is Itzi Patoka, who was he was running for Baltimore County Executive. He lost to Julian Jones, and he's still the county councilman until the general election. But he has the audacity to compare ICE agents to modern day Gestapo, which is the most disgusting thing that a Jewish person could say, considering his parents were Holocaust survivors. ICE agents are not the Gestapo. ICE agents are there to help people like you and I. They're there to help Jews like Itzi Patoka and his constituents. And the crime in Itzi's area is so bad, and most of his constituents are Jewish. And for him to bring up the Holocaust and say, I'm a Holocaust survivor, my parents are Holocaust survivors, but we have ICE agents that are like Gestapo. And then he has the audacity to push anti-ICE legislation into the county council. What say you about that?
What was that?
Oh, sorry. Which part didn't you hear? I can repeat the whole thing.
No, I heard all of it. I
Oh.
didn't hear the last question.
Oh, okay. No, I was just going to say, Itzi Patoka had the audacity to push, anti-ICE legislation into your county. The county council passed this law. What say you about this?
ICE agents are there to protect Americans. They are deporting horrible, vicious people. Just think, Kayla's murderer was 16 years old, almost 17. And he wrote a letter in jail that he has already committed 4 murders and 2 rapes. Almost 17, and he killed 4 people. These are not your kumbaya, whatever people. They are harsh people. And they can live in the community and go under the radar, and you don't even know who they are. Mm-hmm. They could be criminals, and you will be right next to them, and you will not know. Oh, Walter can act like a child. I've seen it. I've seen it in the beginning where he acted like a scared kid, like he was scared to eat in front of them. And then at the end, when he found out she was, that he was being arrested, and they told him he was being arrested for the murder, of Kayla Hamilton. And he was like, homicide in Spanish. And he was like, and his whole demeanor changed. He looked so much older than what he was. They can live in the community and you wouldn't even know it until it's too late. And when they take an American life for no reason, you don't have to be doing anything for you to be a target. And they don't care if you're a Democrat. They don't care if you're a Republican. They don't care if you're black, white, what background you are. Everybody is a target.
I agree.
They are getting these nasty individuals out.
Have you had a chance to see Walter's parents, meet his parents, talk to his parents?
I don't know where his parents is. And he couldn't even speak English. So
you think he's in El Salvador and they just had him come here illegally?
Yeah. His half-brother was living in the same mobile home park as Kayla. He didn't even want him living with him. So guess where he gets to go? He gets to go in the same mobile home as these 2 women and this small child. Exactly. That this rent lady just put him there.
Was there any signs of drugs? Did Walter bring fentanyl over this country? Was he doing drugs? Was there anything like that?
No. He was smoking weed, but Kayla didn't like the smell of it, and she didn't want to complain to the rent lady because they didn't want to cause any trouble with him because they didn't, really trust him. Of course, I mean, they knew something was up, but they didn't want to cause any trouble with him or the landlady, so.
So I know that you were working on legislation with the Senate. You said you had, before you came on, they have Kayla Hamilton's act, but it's still sitting in the U.S. Senate.
It's still sitting there.
Unbelievable. State Silence Act is still sitting there too.
Yeah. One Democrat went against it.
In your opinion, it's still sitting there.
It's because one Democrat went against it. They did not like that her bill will do background checks on every UAC from 16 to 18 or 17, like 14, like somewhere around that age, 15 to 17. They will do a background check in their home country, because if they were allowed to do that, then they would have known everything about Walter. And they said, oh, well, they'll be sitting in the detention center longer than needed. What? They need to sit there as long as it's needed because you don't want another American life taken.
Correct.
Because there's, because they didn't want to do the background check. And why wouldn't you want to protect kids? This protects the kids going over the border because they're putting them in group homes. Would you want Walter, someone like Walter, along with these little kids that are coming across the border? Like, it also protects, American citizens and sex trafficking, and it'll check the sponsors, background, legal status, because he was able to leave his sponsor's house. And she didn't report it until 3 months after Kayla was murdered.
Oh my God.
She reported him as a missing teen. You know where he is because he's in custody of social services. Yeah. So she was just doing it to cover her ass is what I think.
Unbelievable. And it's really sad that actually sex trafficking, child trafficking is a huge business here in America. It's like $1 billion business. And it's really, really sad. They're actually coming out with more movies about it and they're actually true stories about the sex trafficking, the human trafficking that happens and really goes on. Now, my question to you, because I know you've been at the White House, you've seen President Trump, I assume. Have you met DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen? Have you talked to him personally?
I don't think so. I have not.
Yeah. Well, I know that's probably coming.
It is. Yeah.
Now, we talk more on the federal side, and as you know, we're getting a new county council, as you mentioned, Tim Fazenbaker, who's my next guest. What would you like the county council to do to protect more people, to protect young people, so that what happened to your daughter doesn't happen to anybody else?
I mean, everybody needs to be, held accountable for, we all need to work together and pass laws and have stuff in place for, safety. Like, how was this illegal immigrant landlady able to even buy mobile homes? Like, we need to everybody needs to work together. There shouldn't be my side, your side, whatever. Everybody should care about American citizens and their safety. We all need to work together and to prevent this, get all the criminals out, all the legal criminals out. And we need to, follow the laws there are laws in place, but they're not being followed. There's procedures in place. They need to follow what's there.
I agree. And another question to you, as you know, your lovely governor, Wes Moore, and Johnny Olszewski, they signed into law mass amounts of affordable housing to be put in very nice areas and historic areas, especially Fort Howard. Now, they say that the Section 8 housing is for low-income families, but the underlying meaning is they're really going to have it for illegals, illegal criminals, and also convicted felons. What say you about this, about your governor pushing all this Section 8 housing in some historic areas and also really nice areas like St. Rita's Church, for example?
Wes Moore is a joke. Like I've already said, I mean, he's a hypocrite. He goes on there and says he cares about the community safety when he found out that Walter was in school, but then you're defending illegal immigrants. So you don't care about community safety. And yeah, I mean, he wants it for illegal immigrants. It's housing for illegal immigrants. What about the Americans who are homeless and the vets that are homeless? You're kicking the vets out and you're putting these illegal immigrants in there.
100%.
We shouldn't even, I just hope he is gone and this, that he doesn't do another term. Because
I agree with you. He's a disaster.
It's turning into a sanctuary state. Mm-hmm. And nobody is safe.
I agree with you 100%. Before we go, I want to put up your GoFundMe that we have put up. Damon, Cheryl, let's put that up for her. That's a beautiful picture of you and your daughter. She was such a beautiful girl. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of that photo?
This was at Thanksgiving, and she gave me a hug. Kayla was a very loving and accepting child, very happy. She loved to have fun. She loved God. She loved going to church. She was very literal. She was just a bright light, and her light still shines bright. And I'm carrying on her memory. And to make sure that her death is not in vain and that it will mean something, that everybody will remember Kayla and what happened, and hopefully her story will save other lives. And I believe it has, so.
I can tell you, you are a wonderful mother. What you are doing and what you've done is just, I mean, it's for the history books. You will go in the history books for your bravery and for your courage. And I know Kayla's watching down upon you every single day, and she's saying, "You go, Mom. You're rocking.
Yeah.
You're doing it. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything that you've done." And you will meet your daughter, you know, in this life or the next. But she will always be with you, and you will always have her as a guide and as an angel over you for the rest of your life. I know that.
Yes, I truly believe that.
Yeah, Damon, let's put up Miss Noble or Miss Noble's GoFundMe. So please, guys, this is very important. This is called Bring Kayla Hamilton Justice. The goal is $50K. She's already raised $39,601, so she's very close to that goal. She's 80% to her goal. So please, guys, use that QR code right now as we speak, as we celebrate America. But we not only want to celebrate America, we want to celebrate Kayla Hamilton's life. Even though it was not long-lived, we still celebrate her life, because in the 20 years that she was alive, she accomplished a lot. Just like we say with Charlie Kirk, in the 31 years he was alive, he accomplished a lot. But we really want to do as much as we can for this family, to honor Kayla as much as we can. So please, guys, right now, click on that QR code, put in a donations today, whatever you want to put. Obviously, the more you put, the more Miss Nobles reaches her goal. But this is such an important campaign, and one of the most important campaigns. And as Miss Noble says, we don't want this to happen to anybody else. And I applaud that people have already donated, but please, guys, we want to continue donating to this campaign. We're going to feature this entire campaign for the rest, probably for until you make your goal and beyond. I'm always about exceeding my goals. So even though your goal is 50,000, I hope that you get 100 grand. I really do.
Thank you.
Of course, because you deserve it. Go ahead. You get the final word.
And, you know, the funds have been used for the trial. Of course, that's over. And we used it for the back and forth when we were going to court, and for the lawyers, and also to events that I attend. And everything goes towards sharing Kayla's story and making sure that, you know, I'm able to share her story and be able to have the funds to go share her story, and to make sure that she's never forgotten. She was a wonderful person inside and out.
Well, you're a wonderful mom, and you are more than welcome to come on my show anytime. If you have any updates with Kayla Hamilton's act, or just any updates in general, if anything comes up about legal aliens, illegal criminals, you are, and we don't even have to talk about that, but whatever you want, you are, the door is always open to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And before we leave, we have our second sponsor, rncstore.com/ALL. Let's put that up. Yep, Richardson Nutritional Center. Again, this is about detoxing during 4th of July, after 4th of July. Like I said, if you keep kosher like me, the kosher hot dogs, they literally will give you a heart attack because they're all full of salt. So we really want to detox. There's natural remedies in here. This also prevents against cancer. This also helps people with stage 4 cancer. This also helps with fertility for men and for women. And we really, really, really want to push these supplements, because I know for a fact that they really do work. I know I have more energy, I've lost weight from them, and we really just want everybody to indulge in these beautiful supplements for 4th of July. There's also some great discounts for 4th of July. So please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL. If you don't type in AOL, you don't get the 10% discount. So of course, the more you spend, the more you get off. So please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL, type in ALL, get that discount. That's the QR code. That QR code takes you directly to the 10% off discount. So please, guys, click on that QR code. We'll be right back after the break. We have a special guest coming up. Stay with us. We are live. We're live on Rumble, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Spotify, on Substack, on Parler. I mean, we're on 15 different connections. Please, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, thank you to everyone that has been commenting so far. I will get to your comments in a minute. But thank you, guys, and stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Well, hello, everyone. We are live and we are back. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse. We just had a great guest, Tammy Nobles. Now we have my friend, my colleague, my buddy. Remember, he did Faze Time for me in between my shows. But now we can report some amazing and beautiful news that we have Tim Fazenbaker, who is the Republican nominee for Baltimore County Council District 9. What's up?
Word up. Word
did you
up.
get your haircut again? Got your haircut again?
I did, yes.
Well, how does it feel, Mr. Fazenbaker, to be the Republican nominee for the County Council, District 9?
It was a great feeling. I felt some sorrow for some of my colleagues that got close and that didn't win, but ultimately it was short-lived. It was one day of kind of enjoying it, and then it was right back to the trail of, all right, we got more work to do. And after we win in November, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be, all right, now we got a transition team. We got to make sure that we're getting everything going. It's a long, hard battle. I'll say anybody who's ever thought about getting into politics, it is a lot more to it than you may realize if you've never been involved in this. So I thank everyone who steps up to run, even if they have crazy ideas like the far left people. But it's a civic duty, and if you can do it, it's a great feeling, and it's a great thing to give back to your country.
So for those of you who don't know, this has been a 4-year journey because Tim won the Central Committee in 2022. And, I've been working with Mr. Fazenbaker, and he and I were trying to figure out, what seat should he run for? Should he run for Congress in 2 years? Should he wait? Because we didn't know about this seat because of the issues with Todd Crandall, because there was a lot of scandal with Mr. Crandall that a lot of us knew, but we couldn't reveal. Thank you to the Baltimore Banner for revealing that. So now we find out that this is an open seat, and it's in a very hardcore MAGA district. And, Tim and we kind of didn't know where the district would align, because normally it's Dundalk, it's Essex, it's Edgemere, it's Ferris Point. But the beauty of this district is it's literally Tim's district. It's his base. We don't have what we call the Essex crowd. So there's no Essex in this district at all. So it's just Dundalk, a sliver of Rosedale, Sparrows Point, which is where Tim lives, and it's Edgemere, which is Tim's hardcore base. So, going through this and going through this journey, and the interesting part, everybody, is that they tried to push a hardcore rhino against Tim in a very MAGA district. Tell my audience a little bit about that journey.
So thinking about what to run for, in a state like Maryland, there's only one elected congressional Republican, and that's in jeopardy because of the redistricting that may happen here.
That's Andy Harris, everybody.
And that's in District 1 with Andy Harris. But you do have a lot of Maryland that is actually very conservative, America first, traditional, that's not about the socialist movement. And this area right here is where the Key Bridge went down. This is a very conservative area where we had the War of 1812. We had 400 years of families living here, having farms, and it's adjacent to Baltimore City. And it's been an area that was the powerhouse of the world. We had that Bethlehem Steel, the largest steel plant in the world. And these are things that, I want to give back to the community, but it has to be innovative to get this community back past its heyday. So we've been on the decline for years and decades in this area, but knowing that the county council position came up, and this is a powerful position. This isn't, some of the positions for council are very milquetoast. This is a very powerful position. We can control pretty much the East Coast economic flow just from this territory, because we have the port, basically the Port of Baltimore here, which is there's going to be some changes and stuff, but you have so much thoroughfare and economic business here that it has to have the right person to actually move this forward. So it wasn't a surprise to me that this position, when it opens up, and there was some scandal with other people going on prior to this, that this became a seat where people were like, we might have a chance to take this, people on the left, people in the establishment, and so on and so forth. But knowing my community and knowing the base and then knowing what these people want. And my number one thing is, what do you want as a community? Saying that rallied the base to say, we want Tim to help represent us because he will listen to us. Even if they don't like me, they trust me. And that is more important than being liked, because they know I have the interest of not only myself and my family, but my community and my entire district at hand. That's what put us, in a landslide. We have a mandate moving forward here, and we are looking to continue that. And we're gonna make this area great again, and we're gonna make it better than it ever was. And I'm so excited to do this.
So before the election, I should say, you were on the Central Committee. You decided to resign from being a Central Committee member because you wanted to focus on your campaign. Is that correct?
Yeah, one of the strengths that I brought to the Central Committee, and if people don't know, it's basically an internal party position that you get elected for from the public. But one of the goals that you're supposed to do is help recruit other people and help get out the message. And one of the strong suits I bring was communication. I have lots of followers. I go into the urban areas and I recruit people and bring them in and try to get them not just to become Republican, but help to take over the party with their values, so that it's not a watered down Republican Party. And being on the committee was always a fight, because you have people on these committees that have switched parties. They were anti-Trump, never Trump, or they just don't like anybody who is conservative leaning or whatever. And look, I made a lot of great connections there. And then when this position opened up, I knew that the establishment would not necessarily support someone who has values of like America First, like myself, and they want to go a different route, somebody that would be more of a country club Republican who would pretty much go along and do what he's told. And that's not me. And I knew all along, knowing my community and knowing the American people, that this community was going to rally around making sure that they stood up for me, because I've stood up for them for years. And that's one of the best feelings, to hear people say, we backed you all the way through thick and thin, whatever they said and threw at you. We just said, you're not attacking one of our family. And that's why they put me here. And my dog even agrees. You're running around yelling at someone.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into this next thing, but I do need to correct the record, because you have a bunch of liberal reporters. As you know, we are conservative media. We are fair and balanced. And that's why we're at the White House. So you have reporters that are saying that you are censured by the entire Republican Party, which we all know that's not true. The Baltimore County Republican Party illegally censured you, who was a private citizen. You resigned before they even censured you. It is against their bylaws to censure a private citizen. And again, the establishment was doing everything they could to humiliate you, to hurt you, to say that the whole Republican Party was against you. And actually it backfired, because what Mr. Fazenbaker did on Tuesday night is he literally imploded and destroyed the entire Rhino establishment of Maryland in one night, to the point that Mr. Fazenbaker fought back, and he actually got reelected to the Central Committee. He got the most votes of everyone in his district, with his friend Daniel Eisenhardt and this other woman named Deb Sullivan, who tried to get you out, by the way, which we all know. And then, because of what the Central Committee did to you, and because of how powerful you are and what your movement is becoming, about more than half, or I would say half of the Central Committee has either they resigned, they decided not to run again, or they were voted out. You have about 13 members now that are not coming back in November. What say you about that?
As a private citizen, according to our bylaws, you cannot censure a private citizen. What they tried to do after I resigned was they were trying to manipulate the base into thinking that I was not electable, and that they were actually pushing for the establishment person. It completely backfired, and I knew it would. because this is the same thing that we saw in 2016 with President Trump. You have somebody that's trying to drain the swamp, somebody that's fighting for the common person, and the party had all those never Trumpers that just kept trying all these dirty things, and it was sour grapes. They did one last effort by actually attacking me and saying that I was censured, which technically I wasn't because I'm a private citizen.
Correct.
But ultimately, the central committees are very weak in most places, especially in states like Maryland or Massachusetts, where they're liberal. And I always remember Rush Limbaugh was asked the question 15, 20 years ago on air, why are states like Maryland or Massachusetts, where they have weak Republican parties, why do their central committee people always tend to be adversarial and attack other Republicans?
Mhm.
And it's simply, he thought about it and he simply said, they don't want to really be in power because they want to accuse the Democrats of being, when they're in power, making bad decisions, but they don't want to give up their country club status, their little parties and their soirees. They want to hold on to the little bit of power and complain, but not have any responsibility. It's exactly what happened here. And many of the members on the committee and within the party have came to me and said, they pretty much said straight up, they were being forced to try and harm me so that they could elevate their more establishment candidate. Didn't work. Community saw right through it. And even the Democrats in my area, they tend to be more conservative Democrats, old school union workers that were down here. They know that I will call out my own party, and they do like that. You know, a lot of Democrats see someone like myself and they say, he's not a party person. He's an America First person. He's a community person, which is the same thing. America First is the same thing as your community first. And they know I'll call out anybody. If you do something that's against our community and not in our best interest, if it's going to benefit you, you're going to get called out. The party establishment doesn't tend to like that, but the people like that. And that's more important than any political party.
Now, my question to you is, the people that voted for the Rhino candidate or your opponent, do you feel that they will vote for you in the general?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you might have some sour grapes from some of the people there. But look, I congratulated all of the opponents actually for running a nice, decent race and their efforts into everything here. You know, there'll be some people, I'm sure, within family that still have issues in a sense, and it'll be hard for them to do that. Yeah, I don't want to say that too many times. I think I already said that twice. But but ultimately, the majority of Republicans here, they do support my efforts here, and even the ones that don't necessarily care for me, they know that they can trust me, and they know that I will do what's best for the community, and I take their input in more than what my own personal opinions would be. So I don't think that would be a problem getting the party to coalesce around me. Ultimately, this is a key spot. If we were to lose this seat, the balance of power would pretty much shift where we would not even be able to have a veto to stop the Democrats in this county. So they have to get on board. If they don't, we're going to win anyway. But if they don't, and we were to lose this, it's on them more than yes.
So let's talk about your platform a little bit. So one of the things that is so big with you, and when I met you, you were just so passionate about our veterans. And Fort Howard is your baby. I believe in my heart that you won the primary because of your love for Fort Howard, because you want to hashtag protect Fort Howard, hashtag preserve Fort Howard. And as you know, we're celebrating 250 years of America, and it has a lot to do with our veterans as well. So tell us a little bit about Fort Howard, what you will do as the next county councilman for Fort Howard.
Fort Howard, as I kind of mentioned earlier, we had the War of 1812 and 1814, and the British come here. They landed there. And we fought them there before they actually went to the White House at that time and burned down the White House. So this is a Revolutionary era battle area where we take pride in knowing that we fought for our independence here to keep our independence. And we took care of our veterans at this fort for decades. And then 20, 30 years ago, we started to see it become dilapidated. You had two forts like this across the country that ended up being given away by the Department of Veterans Affairs, this area and in Nancy Pelosi's district. And unfortunately, And when they gave it away, they just said, here to the county, take this and you can have a lease and do whatever you want with it for 99 years. And ultimately, it wasn't going to go back to the veterans. There are a lot of issues with the land. It's beautiful land. It's on the water. It's beautiful. Totally. It's somewhat tied into Fort McHenry. So you had for our 250th birthday, you have all the memories of that Star Spangled Banner being written right there, just across the water. And the land has basically been given to developers to build subsidized homes, to build and take away the historic farmland that we have down there, the history that we have down there, and the way of life for people. And the people do not want it. And for 20 years, we have stopped it by every little means that we can. But ultimately, we know how it works. The government has more power. The government has more money. They will end up winning. So Governor Moore, along with the developer, created an amendment, basically called the Fort Howard Amendment, which will allow them to supersede the county and the councilman who has councilmatic courtesy to say, no, you're not going to do anything with this land. They can step in at any time and say, we're taking it.
And I just want to correct the record for my viewers is that state always overrides county. Just let people know that.
Right. So in an effort to one up the states and their efforts to force social engineering and a different way of life for this community, we have gone to President Trump and we have gone to Pete Hegseth, and we are continuing to push. We want Doug Collins. We want President Trump to take Fort Howard and make it officially part of Fort McHenry, make it a National Historic Park. If it's not going to go to veteran use, it has to go to a national park. You'll have some tourism there, and it'll be reenactments and things like that. It'll be great,
which is disgusting.
Correct. And the focus has to be on veterans somehow. And we would love it to be extremely for veterans. And if we can't get that, which the state won't let us, then we will try to find a way to get recognition for that land and give it back to veterans as a historic park, and to stop and thwart Governor Moore and his liberal cronies from taking that land and just throwing Section 8 and throwing any other kind of subsidy down there. And the developer has personally said he's required to have 25% subsidized homes down there. And he said, I'll go more than that if I want. So
it's a developer.
You will destroy an entire conservative community that is kind of like Mayberry, because that is their ultimate goal, to destroy this, make this an urban area. And we don't want that. We don't have the infrastructure, and we should have the say, because our families have bled down here. We should have the say on what happens with this land over any developer.
And for the record, it's not just for low-income families. Like I said with Tammy, it's going to be for illegal criminals, and it's going to be for convicted felons. And that's what people need to understand. Going back to when I was interviewing Tammy before you, as you know, Isipatoka passed anti-ICE legislation into the county council. As the next county councilman, can you reverse what Isipatoka put into law, what he implemented there?
So I can't directly do that, but I was the one who stood up.
But
and
Tammy,
actually, Miss Tammy spoke right after me.
I think you ruined Itzy's political career with that.
I think so too. He wanted a full sanctuary status for this county, and a lot of the other Republicans wouldn't even stand up and state what many of us want, which is no, we don't want sanctuary status. And I got up there, testified, and I told them, you're a traitor to your people, and sissies placate, real men lead. And that is an issue with many people.
Traitor to the Jewish people,
about the
what Tim was
Party.
saying, which is correct.
Yes. So many Republicans tend to just follow, and they think if they can appease and become more moderate, then they will get some Democrat votes. That's the wrong philosophy. President Reagan said, be bold, not pale pastels. You lead, and you don't lead and alienate. You lead and you show them why it's important and what can happen and what the vision is. That's how you get people to follow, and that's how you build a big tent. And people saw what I did there, and I had behind the scenes other elected Republicans that were afraid to speak up, say, we were so thankful you did, because they didn't want to take the risk of looking bad. And that's the worst part. You shouldn't be worried about how you look. You should be worried about what your community wants and your family and and the people around you. Ultimately, it's what they want. So when I get into office again, it'll be a focus of mine to stop anything that Izzy Patoka's sanctuary status bill, basically what would happen there. And part of that, and I mentioned before, was $500 million is at stake from the federal government because we won't comply, simply because they do not want to comply with the president that's in the White House at the moment.
Correct.
It's political and it is partisan, and the people don't want to see it. You're going to see the Democrat Party for a good amount of years still go further and further left. And you're going to alienate more people in the middle and slightly to the left that will feel like that's not their party. And until they actually realize that they cannot live on that far left fringe base, they will continue to self-implode. Unfortunately, it hurts Americans by them doing this in the meantime, but we will find ways to work with the federal administration, whether it's President Trump or Marco Rubio next. But we will find ways to do this, and we will find ways to make sure the press is aware and that we put pressure on any local politician that tries to sneak these types of bills through.
So let me ask you something, because I just thought about that as we're talking. When I first met you, you were running for Congress, and now you're running for a local seat, and you will win this local seat. How has that transition been from first running for a congressional seat? It was your first time ever running for a federal race, and now this is your first time running for a local race. Tell us the difference between that and that transition.
So when I ran for Congress, it was an accident actually that I fell into. So
and you did great, by the way.
I didn't know what I was
great.
doing. Thank you. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew one thing. I was on a mission as a father to correct things within my own party and to grow a bigger tent for this party. And I knew that the Republican Party in Maryland was so weak and ineffective that I would not be able to get anywhere. And at the time I was running against Dutch Ruppersberger, who had been in office longer than I had been alive. And the first thing I did was I worked with Brandon Strzok, met him up in Boston, and then we met David Harris Jr. out in
Arizona.
LA and Arizona. And then Scott Presler started working with him. And I started getting on all the national news stations, and I was talking a different way. And they saw I was going down into the urban areas and in the gay community and stuff and saying, look, we have common views on a lot of things. How do we focus this into rebranding our party? Make it your Republican Party. Mm-hmm. And that's how people start to grow that movement here. The one thing I really learned in that race was Dutch Ruppersberger, as far left as he was and kind of a war hawk, he had a lot of support from people who were Republicans who did not like anything that he voted for, but he did great constituent services for them. He took care of somebody that had a veteran need or some kind of employment need, whatever it was, and people never forgot it. And I remembered thinking to myself, how could you vote for him when he's so antithetical to what you believe? But it's about connection. And it reminded me to make sure that it's all about connection with people in my community. So this time around, I had a person comment today that, it was so refreshing that somebody that was in my position helped somebody. And I had to look back, and I found out in December that I helped someone with a personal issue. Don't know what the is, but I know a lot of them have been Democrats because for campaign signs put in their yards, and they say, I'm a Democrat, but I'm voting for you because you're my family, and won't see that, especially when somebody's in a position of power or well known in the political world. Those people tend not to even respond to a lot of people. They have their staff do it, but I for years have done this because I somebody reaches out or has an issue, and I want to step in. I want to do what I can to help them, whether it's bringing them food, finding them ways to stay into their house or apartment a little bit longer if they're having financial issues, school issues, road issues, things like that. So letting them know that, hey, vision, and it's something that I'm willing to share with you, and we can work on it together so that we all have better lives down here. And it's not about socialism. It's about getting you up the best spot so that you can also contribute and be able to give back to the next generation as well.
So before you go, I know I had some slides, but I kind of, Damon shared, can we skip to some of the numbers of today coming out for the election? Because as you know, friggin' Maryland, well, that's for the Central Committee. So for the Central Committee right now, Mr. Fazenbaker is up 25.83% against Daniel, 23.83. And Daniel said, "Guy, it would be great if I beat you." For the Central Committee.
I wish he would.
No,
He's
it's
an
not
up-and-coming
even-
person. And
Yeah.
he's got a great story. Yeah. So, which I'll have to step down from when I become the councilman. I get a quarter of the votes here. Danny and I actually did great in a landslide here, and it's just showing that our community is rallying behind us. Danny is somewhat like a protege of mine. We grew up together to a point. Great life story. Goes into foster care and comes out and makes for himself. He's going to be there. So he's maybe 4 years behind right now, where he's going to get in there. So strong cheer, and I'm very proud of Danny and myself.
Damon, can we put up Mr. Fazenbaker showing so far? Yep. So there we go. So actually, every day of this mail-in ballot counting, Mr. Fazenbaker is going up, which is awesome. So he's right now at 1,500 votes. He is up 40%, as far as I'm concerned. I think the day of the election, you actually won by 41%. I think JD was like at 24%. So
yes,
every day that these mail-in ballots are coming in, Mr. Fazenbaker is doing phenomenally well. He's above his opponent by 537 votes. That's why Mr. Orbach, conceded immediately, because he knew he couldn't pick it up. And it's interesting because, we had to go through a lot of obstacles to make sure that this election was free and fair. There's a guy that works for the Baltimore County Republican elections who's a friend of Mr. Orbach. So we had to put our people in place, and we had to put some emails in place to make sure that this was a free and fair election. And if the DOJ had to come in, then the DOJ had to come in. I can tell you guys, and Mr. Fazenbaker knows this, that RUI has confirmed that the certification of the election will be July 6th. They try to do some shenanigans to say, well, we'll certify July 6th, but we may have to, manually recount, and we may not really certify till July 7th. No. It says it under law that you must certify the election July 6th. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. And I re-emphasize the law to this person and to the DOJ. So the DOJ is aware of what the state and the county was trying to do. And when the DOJ knows what's going on, it freaks out the county and the state. Because let me tell you something, guys, the county and the state do not want the DOJ to come in and take a look, because they'll call out all the shenanigans that are happening, and they will pull people out if they see any shenanigans happening. So I can tell you guys, on July 6th, Mr. Fazenbaker will be officially certified as a Republican nominee, but he has already been called the Republican nominee, and I will continue to call him the Republican nominee because he is. But last word, Mr. Fazenbaker.
The good thing is, for anybody that's thinking about running or involved in running right now, whether you agree or agree on mail-in ballots, which I don't think we should have those unless it's the way it used to be with military.
Right.
You got to play this game right now. You have to beat them at their own game.
Too big to rig.
Get election day, big to rig, and get people to watch the counting of the ballots. Get them uncomfortable so that they know we're onto their game. At the same time, help work to get the Save America Act passed and these other things so that it becomes more fair. But you have to play their game at the moment, or else they're just going to beat you at it, and we'll never be able to make a change. So we had a strong showing. We were up probably roughly 40%, or we probably got about 40% of every single bucket of early voting, mail-in voting, and all that. The mailing voting I do not like, and early voting I don't really care for. But right now, we're going to continue pushing those things to make sure that we win so that we can make a change for the better and hopefully change some of these election things that have been finagled to benefit other people right now. So
and also, Tim, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I'm very proud of what we did as a team, and I'm very proud of the community. And it, again, touches my heart that they've stood up for me because I've stood up for them.
I agree. And it has been an honor to work with you. And I am so looking forward to continuing our journey into working with you, because, people don't see, the person that I'm working with. And, you get a lot of noise. But when you get the noise away and you actually meet Mr. Fazenbaker and you talk to him and you have one-on-ones with him, you're like, oh my God, like, dude, you're a really nice person. Like, that idiot was completely wrong about you. Well, duh, because you have to actually meet the person first before you judge. I always say, don't judge a book by its cover. And you really have to meet the person and talk to that person and really get to know that person before you make that judgment. And I do have one question, because, as you know, we don't 100% necessarily know who your Democrat opponent is going to be, because they're still counting mail-in ballots. So in the beginning, Arkia Waite, a very nice person, she was up like 50 votes, and then she went down to being up 11 votes, and then up 8, and now she's back up 45, and now up 50. So it's a fight between her and this guy Mark McCluskey. So, in your opinion, who do you think is going to be your opponent in for the general?
Mathematically, the odds would be Arkia Waite at this point. They are finished. So they say they're finished mail-in ballots, and tomorrow they'll be going through provisional ballots. I don't think there's enough numbers there to actually swing the race the other way. I do got to say, I mean, both people were very nice. I think they do care about their community. One person aligns with my vision a little more. The other person is different, but no matter who it is moving forward, we will continue to show what we've been doing and our vision and how we're going to do it, and how we're going to not just be elected and sit in that seat, how we're going to do things. Whether you like President Trump or not, he's had a vision and he's done things to radically change, a lot of the issues that were going on in this country, and will always be remembered. And that's something we really want to do. I want the next generation and generations after that to look back and say, wow, 100 so years ago, how did this area become such the powerhouse of the world that it's going to become? And we're going to do that.
Amen. And also, while I have you on, let's put up your QR code. Damon, let's do it.
So you can also find me at timfazenbaker.com.
Yep, that's it. And, so that is, yep, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, that's, I don't even know where that picture was, but QR codes there.
I do. That was in Dundalk for the Charlie Kirk vigil that you put together in Dundalk.
Sweet. All right. Yeah. So I'm surprised the left hasn't called me out and trying to make it look like I was doing a, what's that guy in Maine? Yeah.
Oh, the Nazi salute now.
Yeah, Graham.
I know you do have a tattoo, Tim. So
do have a tattoo of my daughter's name, and
there you go.
Actually,
but yeah, that's timfazenbaker.com. As you know, we're going to the general. The DNC is going to come hard with their money. We need every Republican to back Tim Fazenbaker, and not just in the state. Tim has gotten campaign funds from people that live in Ohio, Florida, California, different states. You don't have to live in the state and the district to donate, but the maximum is $6,000. And all those people that donated to his other opponents, they can donate now too. Certain ex-Central Committee members, even some Central Committee members, doesn't have to be the Baltimore County Central Committee, under their bylaws, they can endorse now Mr. Fazenbaker. They can provide money to him. But honestly, it's about we the people. We would rather have the people support than the party support, because at the end of the day, it's about you. It's about his constituents. Mr. Fazenbaker is not party over principle. He's always principle over party, and that's how it should be. That's how it always should be. What say you, Tim?
I would never be a Democrat in this modern era, because my values don't fall over there. The Republican Party doesn't have every value that I think I have, but it's closer to who I am. But the thing is, it's always about the principles, the community before a party. And in order to make a difference, you don't start another party; you actually take over the party. And that's what we're doing. You saw President Trump do it. And it is, again, it's a little strange that people are still blinded by not understanding what President Trump has done and what I have done, which is lead by example, do what you say you're going to do. And if
They
the
do call you the
establishment-
Trump of Maryland.
It's
I mean,
an honor.
guys. You have to understand, because I lived it with Tim for 6.5 years. What Tim did is what Trump did, where Trump was getting shots and blowns. And I mean, Tim's not a convicted felon, but President Trump, I mean, that was coming, just like fake convictions. I mean, Mr. Fazenbaker got everything in the sun. And for him to do what he did Tuesday night, how he overpowered all of that, I mean, we all cried, because for 6.5 years, Mr. Fazenbaker and I went through such vitriol, such pushback from all of the rhino, from all the establishment of Maryland, for one man. That's like Trump. It only took one man, Mr. Fazenbaker, to overcome and to take over that whole party, and in a way say F you to them, but in a way just. It was the people. The people saw the BS. The people, and that's why we thank his voters so much, because they saw through the BS. I want to give a shout out to my friend Dawn, because if it wasn't for Dawn, oh my God, she exposed everything and everybody. And we love Dawn, and Dawn's gonna be with us throughout the general as well. Because if it wasn't for people like Dawn and other people that were involved, I don't think other people would have seen the light. And I thank the voters for seeing the light. I thank them for seeing the BS. And I thank you, Tim. I thank you for continuing the fight. I thank you for not backing down. I thank you for the strength that you have, this strong person that you are. And you have phenomenal children. Your oldest daughter just graduated with a full scholarship to college. She graduated third in her class and was valedictorian. And that's a reflection of you and of your wife. So, I mean, just a wonderful man, a wonderful family man. God bless you.
Thanks.
And don't forget the 4th of July parade. Here, you can pop that in too.
We'll be at the 4th of July parade in Dundalk, which is one of the oldest parades, I think, around.
Yeah.
And
25 miles.
There'll be another parade in July somewhere else. But we every year we give out rubber ducks. A lot of people, the kids love ducks, and the Jeep people love ducks. So it's kind of our thing now, and it's getting the lame ducks out of office. But I'll say this: when I first got in, and I knew it was going. When I first got into politics, and I knew that it was going to be extremely hard to take on an entire machine, I said, "Build an army," and it takes time, and we did. And you see a lot of other people that were real close to winning that will win next time.
And Henry Siskowski.
Right. So don't just be the spoke in the wheel; be the wheel. And let them be the spokes. That's how you get things done and how you change things.
I agree. God bless you, Tim. God bless you. Thank you so much. And again, I'm really excited for our future, for the future of this country, and for you and I's future, and everybody else's future, moving forward. It's going to be great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And before we leave, also, we have a couple other campaigns. We have Justin Murphy, who's running for the United States Senate. Can't forget him. He is the Republican nominee for New Jersey State Senate. So every Republican needs to back this man. Independents need to back this man. You don't want Cory Booker in there. He's awful. He's disgusting. He believes in illegal criminals. He's a disgusting human being. I pushed for Justin Murphy. I had a lot of Jewish people in New Jersey vote for Justin Murphy. He is an awesome guy, very smart guy. We need to back him, and we need to get behind him. And of course, we have our good friend from the Jersey Shirt, Damon Galdo, who is the Republican nominee for U.S. Congress in District Number 1. He and Justin Murphy are working hand in hand together. They actually did like a phone banking thing, get out the vote thing the other night, and it was very successful. And they're just going to continue doing fundraisers with each other, working together, helping each other out. And we love Damon, and we want to get him there. And please, guys, these are the QR codes. Everybody, candidates need money. These people, they're running for federal office, so that they need more money. But obviously, it's for a great cause, and it's for America First people, MAGA people, but it's also for people that care about the community. They're not self-serving men. They're not politicians. They actually care about the country. Damon has a wonderful family, wonderful wife, wonderful children, and we need to get back to them, guys. We really need to get back to them. And again, guys, we also have last campaign, my friend Mark Stevens sent this to me. He's been working with this guy, Blaze, Enjoy, and he wants to plan a bachelor trip to Destin, and he's gone through investigations and all this stuff, and just people are hitting him with the kitchen sink. All he wants to do is just enjoy this trip to Destin. So they're only going to raise up to $450. I would like to make that up to $1,000. So please, guys, They're 14% away from their goal, or sorry, they're 14% into their goal, but we really want to get it up to 1,000 if we can, even though the final goal is 450. Please, guys, go to that QR code, donate to help Blaze enjoy his bachelor trip to Destin, because people have been fighting him and fighting him hard. And he's a very good guy, according to my friend Mark Stevens. And again, it's about giving back to the people, giving back to veterans, and that's what it's all about. Well, thank you, guys. As you know, 4th of July is coming. So we want everybody to have a wonderful 4th. If you have a chance, if you're in the Maryland area and you have a chance to go to DC, do it. I'll be in Maryland. I'll be in the DC area all weekend. So please, guys, enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for advice and adventures. My friend Donna Willinger, Deborah Levine, Wallman. Thank you again to my guests, Tammy Nobles and Tim Fazenbaker. Thank you guys so much. Again, the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution, because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine Live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talked about, then share the Alexandra Levine Live podcast with others. Alexandra also looks forward to seeing you on the next upcoming episode.